In this video, we are going to, first of all, find complex conjugates, and then we're going to use the complex conjugate theorem to find a polynomial with rational coefficients. All right, this one's going to get kind of messy looking. All right, now this first part that we're going to do is going to be like numbers 18 to 21 in your textbook from chapter 5, section 5. All right, and we are first of all going to have our original ones are going to be 14 minus radical 2, and we're going to have negative 6i. Now, problems like 18 to 21, all we have to do is find the other two conjugates. So what does that mean? Just change the sign of what's in between here. So the other two are going to be 14 plus radical 2 and positive 6i. Now, that much stops with numbers 18 to 21. What we're going to do now is going to be like 22 through 29. We are actually going to use these to find the polynomial. So I am going to say x equals, and I'm going to do the ones with the radicals first, 14 minus radical 2, and x equals 14 plus radical 2, and then we have x equals negative 6i, and x equals positive 6i. Now, I am going to put these together as factors, so I'm going to subtract 14 minus radical 2 from both sides. So I have x minus 14 minus radical 2 in parentheses equals 0. And then I have x minus 14 plus radical 2 equals 0. Add 6i to both sides, so I have x plus 6i equals 0. And then subtract 6i from both sides to set this equal to 0. And I have x minus 6i equals 0. Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to just work with the ones with the radicals first. All of these are going to get multiplied together. So here's what I'm going to do. Before we even just do that, I'm just going to put them all together. I'm going to use brackets. I'm going to say x, and then I'm going to distribute my negative. So I'm going to say minus 14 plus radical 2. All right, and you'll see why in a moment I'm going to use these brackets, okay? And then times, distributing my negative, x minus 14 minus radical 2. And we're going to keep on with these. Brackets are the same as parentheses, they just have straight lines. Kind of helps so your eyes don't get all buggy. Okay, I'm going to have x plus 6i, and we have to multiply all these together, and x minus 6i equals 0. Okay, I'm going to change colors here, and what I'm going to do is, you notice in these first two brackets, x minus 14 is the same. So I am going to put a parenthesis around this and grouping this together and treating it like it's one term. I now will have what's like a difference of two squares. So I am going to multiply just the two sets of brackets with the radicals in them, and then I will do the two that are the imaginaries off to the side later, because these are going to be the toughies. Okay, multiply the first terms. So I have x minus 14. This quantity is squared. Okay, use like your FOIL method. First terms, now outside, I have minus radical 2 times x minus 14. Then do the inside. I have plus radical 2 times x minus 14. And then do your last terms. Positive radical 2 times negative radical 2 is minus radical 2 being squared. I'm going to wait to multiply these out. Okay. Now, you notice our middle terms here, those add to 0. They cancel out. So they're gone. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square this. You can either write this out twice and multiply it using your FOIL method. I am going to use the shortcut. You square the first term, so x squared. Multiply the two terms. X times negative 14 is minus 14x. Double it. We have minus 28x. And then we take negative 14 times negative 14, which gives me a positive 196. So plus 196. Now, when I square the square root of 2, that just gives me 2. There's a minus in front, so I have a minus 2. All right, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have x squared minus 28x. 196 take away 2 gives me plus 194. Okay, now this was one of my brackets. We are going to now multiply this out. I'm going to just use a different color so you can see it's the ones with the imaginaries. All right, using your FOIL method, x times x gives me x squared outside minus 6ix, then inside plus 6ix. You can put the I after or before. It doesn't matter at this point because these are going to cancel out. See, the same terms, they add to 0. And then positive 6i times negative 6i. Well, 6 times 6 gives you 36. Positive times a negative is negative. And we have 36i squared. Well, I squared is the same thing as negative 1. So we can replace all I squareds with negative 1, which makes this into a positive 36. So, because see, negative 36 times I squared is negative 1 equals 36. So, what I'm left with here is x squared plus 36. I'm going to bring this down here and we have to multiply these two together. So x squared plus 36. And remember that this is equal to 0. So I have my maroon from the radicals and my green from the imaginaries. Now, the way to multiply these is you just take this first term times everything in the green set of brackets. And then this term, the second term, times everything in this green set. And the third term times everything in the green set. So let's change colors and we'll use, how about purple? Okay, so x squared times x squared gives me x to the 4th. Then x squared times 36x squared gives me plus 36x squared. Now I have to take negative 28 times each of these. So negative 28x times x squared gives me negative 28x to the third power. Then I take negative 28x times 36. So let me get that on my calculator here. And I get, a nice big number, negative 1008x. And then last, I have to take my 194 times each of these. So 194 times x squared, that gives me plus 194x squared. And then 194 times 36 gives me a really huge number, 6,984. And this equals 0. Now, all we have to do is combine our like terms and have this equal to p of x, or if we want to use y. Since we have a polynomial in x, we are going to say p of x equals. All right, we only have one term that has x to the fourth, so x to the fourth is part of the answer. Now, we only have one term that's cubed, so minus 28x cubed is part of the answer. We now have to take our 36x squared plus 194x squared, and we have 230x squared. So plus 230x squared. And then I only have one term that just has an x. That's pretty nice. So I just bring this down, minus 1008x. And then last, I have my 6,984, so plus 6,984. And here is our polynomial. It is one big nasty one. Aren't you glad we wasn't given this and told to factor it? Ooh. It is kind of sticky. It is a little hard, but you can do this. It is not impossible. All right? All right. Enjoy them. Bye-bye.